Southern California recruiting officially a war zone again. USC, UCLA, Cal are all fighting to keep local talent home, but the rest of the country is not backing off. Oregon, Texas, Alabama, Notre Dame, they're all still coming into SoCal and landing elite prospects. And the biggest shift, UCLA. Suddenly, one of the most aggressive recruiting programs in the region under new leadership, while USC is still leaning on its brand, but facing much tougher competition. Add in NIL money and the transfer portal, and coaches say recruiting has completely changed. In Southern California, is SoCal still the heart of West Coast recruiting, or has it become the most competitive free for all in all of college football? For years, SoCal was the backbone of elite college football recruiting. Now it's becoming something different, a national battleground where everyone shows up and nobody can afford to miss. USC is trying to lock it down. UCLA is surging with new energy. Cal is rebuilding its presence, and national programs still flying in and taking elite talent every cycle. So, is this area of the country that we're in still a home base for local programs, or has it become open territory for whoever recruits its best year to year? And to me, I mean, I look at this, and as somebody that coaches high school football here in San Diego, I think it's very difficult to try to keep as many of these kids in town as possible. I know a lot of Aztec fans always go, we got to try to keep our best here in San Diego. It's hard to do that when you have the likes of Ohio State and Georgia and Alabama and Texas and Notre Dame and Oregon and a lot of schools that can pay for a lot of money when they come in and can get a lot of these kids. Plus, on top of it, I think it's hard to sell local schools here to kids that are going to go to college in comparison to what it's like to be in a college town when you become the biggest show in the state. Where in California, college athletics is not like that.
No, it's not. And like you hear from recruiters, from high school coaches around the county, and you're around a lot of them, that this is starting to become a battleground, or a real true battleground. That SoCal has not been this intense as far as recruiting in years. And looking at a school like USC, coaches across the region still view USC as the most recognizable brand in Southern California, but opinions are split on how they're operating. Some coaches say USC has improved its focus under new leadership and recruiting operations, especially locking down elite West Coast talent, and being more direct about conversations in NIL, but others still think that they're still leaning and still coasting on that reputation that they built. So for USC, this is a fight, especially for them, of you're at the top, we're going after you. And for USC, it's how do we stay at the top as far as the local schools and local programs are concerned.
I like I disagree with the most recognizable brand
No,
recruiting,
it's not.
and it's not. I know. I don't think, some coaches might think that they're living in the past. I mean, the reality is, when USC was in its heyday, like even before Reggie Bush, right?
Mhm.
Like all of the kids growing up like, oh, USC, and like they were the dominant West Coast figure. And after the recruiting violations that they got sent the hit with after the Reggie Bush stuff, it set them back so far that, you know, I look at even kids that were 25, they're out of college now. They were born in 2001. They don't remember Reggie Bush.
Mhm.
Those are 25-year-olds. What do you think about like 14 to 18-year-olds now? Who do they think about on the West Coast for football in the last
Oregon
five?
now.
Oregon. It's Oregon. Oregon's like the top school. USC keeps living in the early 2000s and the 80s and 90s, and the Marcus Allens and the OJ Simpsons and Reggie Bush and the Carson Palmers, and USC has had to use NIL and pay to try to get kids this way. And this is coming from a coach too, by the way, that has a USC commit on our team, right? Now, that kid's kind of like very 90s anyway, like, so it doesn't surprise me that he'd be in on USC, but it's been a long time since like the Junior Seau of the of the time, and some of these local guys staying. And here's the other thing. I honestly I wonder if this is part of the equation because LA has always been SC football over the pro teams, but now you got NFL teams in LA. Like, is USC still like the most popular thing in LA in the fall?
UCLA is starting to come up on the rise as well. They've got a new regime coming in. High school coaches are saying that UCLA has been more aggressive and more energetic than USC has been in recruiting these kids. They're more staff are going to games, stronger relationship with players and coaches, more transparency, increased out of state recruiting success, and a noticeably higher energy at practices and visits. So UCLA, especially now, as you mentioned, for the kids that don't really know of or care about the USC success, UCLA is nipping at their heels as well.
Yeah, but it's moving slow.
Yeah.
They're
Oh,
still
yeah.
close to the late to the party group. And again, just from experience, you know, kids aren't thinking about UCLA. They're kind of thinking about SC now with some of the money in Lincoln Riley, but they're not really thinking too much about USC either. And the
UCLA is considered more a basketball school anyway, as far as I'm
Right,
concerned.
and but even then, like, even in basketball, like, recently they've been, back on the rise, but in basketball on the West Coast, Gonzaga, Arizona, like, there's been other programs now. Like, USC and UCLA have always like, the last handful of years haven't been what kids are looking for, but here's what the comparison I was gonna do for LA in general, and really California in general. How do you sell the Coliseum, which is fun, like, it's a good time there, like, you have a little bit of how do you
Sell it as a
sell
racetrack.
that how do you sell that in comparison to what it's like on Saturday at Notre Dame? What it's like on a Saturday in Eugene? What it's like in Austin, Texas? So they all have the money too, but it's also you are the biggest thing in town. In LA, even if USC might be more popular to the Rams and the Chargers, are they more popular than the Lakers?
No.
Are they more popular than the Dodgers?
Nope.
You're not the biggest thing in town where you get to go to these other places and you are the pro athlete because you're getting paid like one and you're the star like one and you're in gigantic facilities that are state of the art. I mean, the Coliseum got a little bit of a remodel. That thing's old. Like the Rose Bowl. I mean, they had issues like playing with the Rose Bowl. The student involvement. Are you telling me that the students at USC are going to games way like a higher level than Texas, than any school in the SEC? Like these are the problems that these schools have to deal with. And when you have this world where everything's connected and these kids go on visits and they can go see what it's like to be at these other schools, no wonder the California schools aren't keeping anybody.
Mhm.
Now, I will say this about Cal. Tosh Lapoy, who used to be at Oregon, he's been around the block. He's a great recruiter. He might be able to get some of these guys to go to Cal Berkeley. But when you look at the hotbed of talent we have here in Southern California, we do, and it's mostly in Orange County. I'll admit that as a San Diego coach, they're mostly in Orange County. The Trinity League's got some of the best players in the country because they're from all over the place that go over to the Trinity League to play high school football in particular. With that hotbed, they're going to get the likes of every single major school. And USC and UCLA can't be arrogant on the fact of this is what we used to do. We're the best. Like these kids don't know that. They think about Oregon. They think about uniforms. They think about a lot of different things. How much money can you pay me? How much playing time am I going to get? And where can I play on a gigantic stage? And I just don't see that with a lot of the California schools. And until they get to that point again, I don't necessarily know they're going to be able to hold off these other schools. And also, like, I feel like it's the fan engagement too, to an extent of when I go to Tuscaloosa, that is Saturday. When I go to
Mhm.
LA, I can go to the beach in the fall and Saturday and in September and October. I can go to the Dodger game. Dodgers are in town. There's Hollywood. There's a lot more to do. I think that hurts them in this day and age of recruiting. But SoCal, definitely still the hotbed of recruiting in college athletics.